there is so much previous that Rangers could have picked on their own supporters for, in terms of really vile behaviour, in terms of really inflammatory, racist, sectarian, you know, I hesitate to use the word racist, certainly sectarian, messaging, slogans, chants. And they've gone in with both feet on this one. I think it's probably because they know that UEFA are, you know, holding a gun to their head effectively. This is a big punishment that's now hanging over them for the next 2 years. The Copeland Road, an entire shutdown for a European tie. Not only is that huge in terms of financial costs and implications, but also reputationally. How bad does that look?
Yeah.
And this all comes at a time, and this is where the Rangers supporters, and you wonder, what are they thinking? Are they thinking at all? They do realise, don't they, that the San Francisco 49ers are involved in a potential takeover of the football club. You think that's clear by now, surely. Now, the San Francisco 49ers, in terms of PR and, you know, global appeal, are they almost toying? Are they almost trying to poke them with a stick? Because, you know, there might be people within that organisation who would look at something like that and say, wait a minute, this is a ban for what? Racism. The football authorities in Europe are charging them with being racist, and we're about to spend how much on this? I think that's an incredibly stupid set of circumstances that they have managed to create for themselves. Now, I applaud the Rangers statement. I wonder what the motivation is, because I've seen so much being allowed to slide that isn't, you know, doesn't seem to take or receive this level of treatment. I think it's the appropriate level of treatment, I have to say that. But why wait until UEFA are threatening this sort of stuff? Rangers should have been doing this a long time ago. They should be telling their supporters, look, whatever it is, guys, leave it at the door. However you feel, however you want to conduct your life, whatever belief system you want to employ, however you want to go about your social stuff outside of this football stadium, well, do you know what? There is no control over that. But see, when you come in through the doors, try and behave like, you know, that, as if the club matters to you. And we've seen the same, and it's almost as if they're almost trying to copy, and this is the possibly the thing that will embarrass some Rangers fans the most. It's almost as if they're trying to be the Rangers version of the Green Brigade, because it's the Green Brigade that brought the politics into Celtic Park and have done over many years. And I think there was a big element of Rangers fans that were probably quite happy. Look at them, they've got their club in trouble again. And now this section, and we'll keep coming back to it, I don't know how many times I'm going to have to risk a heavy reaction, but I keep coming back to this ultras culture where they just seem hell-bent on causing offence wherever they can. If that means hurting their own club, so be it. If it means hurting their own supporters, well, we don't really care. We'll do what we want when we want. And that I've gone on about it previously. How many examples do you need? You know, just behave yourselves. Just go to the game, support your football club, behave yourself like a grown-up. I don't really think that's too much to ask for. And I would be very curious to see, we've already talked about this, the pyrotechnic stuff that's now going to cost 500 tickets. 500 fans won't get into the next League Cup semi-final next season if Rangers get there. I think Rangers have been quite cute with that because they've made it clear it's the fans that have caused the problem. They're the ones that won't get the tickets. I find that interesting because how is it if you know who they are? Why are they still there? How are they still managing to congregate in certain sections of away stadiums and moving other people out the road? It's just, I think both clubs, and clubs in general, by the way, they've created a monster with this ultra stuff. And you know what? The monster needs to get fed. And the bigger it gets, you know, the more problems it causes. And both clubs and other clubs around the country, they're all going down this same road. I'm not saying that one group are as bad as the other, but I think especially with this relationship between Rangers and Celtic, it's almost like, right, if you think that you can be that offensive, well, we'll just take that up a notch. And we'll be even more offensive, and we'll use even more pyrotechnics.
Schoolboy stuff, isn't it?
It's honestly, it's depressing. And as I said, I think that the central message here is, well, not only might they run the risk now, or they do run the risk? And do you think this section of supporters are going to behave themselves for 2 years? I find it highly unlikely. So you've got a situation where, in all probability, the Colton Road stand will have to get shut down for a European tie. At a point in time, if it's not this season, then it's maybe when Andrew Kavanagh is in charge with the 49ers. If, and in the worst case scenario, what if somebody at the 49ers says, look, do we really want to plough on with this? Is this the reputation? Because there's reputational damage, and nobody cares more about that sort of stuff than the high-end American companies, big global corporations.